right, hello there. This is going to be your LinkedIn introduction assignment. So this will be due when we get back from class. So it's here for you to watch. Don't stress over the break. You already have plenty of assignments to stress over. But it is good to have this in your head, get prepared. Some of you mentioned not having a LinkedIn profile. So you want to get started on that. So let's jump in. We are going to be looking at, let's try to, there's my little clicker. So for those of you who aren't familiar, LinkedIn is a social media platform. It is designed more for professional communication and networking. Do not be surprised if you find similar immature statuses that you would find on Facebook. They are less, but this is one of the reasons you're taking this class of how to professionally present yourself. And you will notice on especially contentious, debated topics on there that inappropriate comments with the name of their company right next to their name. This is what we're hoping you'll learn to do better at. Okay, so remember, we are always our resume. We are always presenting ourselves. And with the name of our company right next to us, we are representing our company, whether it's a company we work for or it's our own. Things can reflect positively, and they can also reflect very negatively. Now, what we're going to do is you're going to definitely need to have your own LinkedIn page. This is my LinkedIn page. That's Professor Noam Chomsky. So I have, to throw some names out, I have had the privilege of studying with Professor Chomsky. So you could go to LinkedIn, start your page. So you're going to want to put a professional picture. This is a bit on the unprofessional side and probably not normally what I would go with. But again, I get to throw around names, throw around Professor Waterhouse's. And it was a group that we were taking a picture of. So I get to take the chance, and having people, because people have seen me with Dr. Chomsky, have got connections through there. I can also list current places that I'm working at, schools I've studied at, and there's a myriad of options that you can go through and list accomplishments and jobs. So you're absolutely going to need to start here. Feel free to look me up. That is how what you would enter to find me directly, or you can just go to LinkedIn, search my name, some of the things I have under there, and I should pop up, and you're more than welcome to add to me or add me to your circle. Now you can see that I have several people listed here. I have a pretty good selection of people around. So I will see students that I will either be studying something I find interesting, or looking at students for potential employment in the future. Even at other universities, they may be involved in something that catches my eye. I've just started making new connections at LaGuardia Community College. So there are people that I know from there, and just model makers. Like, I never know when I might need that. I do a fair amount of networking at schools I've been to. And like I mentioned, really looking at students that I can possibly employ when they graduate in a couple of years, and new colleagues that I meet at new projects that I'm undertaking. So why should you network? Networking is highly valuable. So through networking with others, we're establishing mutual benefit. I can do something, you can do something possibly differently than I am, and we can team up together to get mutual benefit. But we also want to establish that, especially in this platform, a level of professionalism. So we don't want to start off, and I don't message people that I don't know immediately going, using very familiar language. Mr. this or that, Professor this. I usually try to go informally until we establish a relationship that I can be more casual with. You also want to think about credibility, both yourselves and for other people. So I know there's still in LinkedIn a lot of businessing. That's my washing machine doing laundry. Um, so you're going to want to take a look in. Not everyone is credible. So take care of who you're adding. A lot of people do market themselves, but they market themselves in a way that they'll start spamming you. So that's something we always want to be aware of. Look for skills. Look for skills that you lack and find compliments for other people to help you out with that. Reciprocity is big in networking. And what that means is if I do something for you, I'm hoping you might be able to do something for me. Not necessarily like on one-on-one, but just going ahead and being able to have that ability and keeping in mind if someone helps you out, having a willingness to help them out. Understanding that there are boundaries as well. So going in on LinkedIn is supposed to be more professional. So we are thinking that, on Facebook, you get those spams, come look at my pictures. We're hoping by joining on certain networks and even in personal networks that there's a level of professionalism and having those boundaries in appropriate context. Convenience. So not having to search through a lot of items to accomplish a goal. We're looking to minimize our effort and maximize our outcomes. And trust. We're hoping, and like I mentioned, there are those that do not follow this, but we're hoping that if you do something for me, I can trust you to complete it. I can trust your intentions. And so these are all the things that we look at, not only while trying to network on LinkedIn, but in person. When we meet new people, we generally either do or do not have an assumption that we can trust this person to accomplish a job, maintain confidentiality, different levels of trust that we enter into when discussing networks. So we talked about conflict. Guess what? You have one more assignment. I know. Insert groan here. But think about, spend a moment reflecting on a past work environment and the conflict you've experienced in that workplace. And if you haven't undergone that, think about the behaviors that keep conflict from occurring. What have you done to keep that conflict from happening? And if so, how did you handle conflict if it did occur? And what are the results? And what could have improved this situation? So, memo format, direct informative, give me information, and use some of that great skill of integrating personal experiences in that. Do this coming Sunday as well with everything else. Keep in mind, we're only writing 1-page maximum assignments here. And the idea is to have you do this so often that when it does come up, you're able to just crank it out because you have that template. So think of the templates you've been given and use those to your advantage. Back to our regularly scheduled program. Not yet. Oh, I had one more other point. So we slightly brought this up in class, but the shortcut for APA. So at the end of your papers, especially your industry report, you're going to have works cited, and you definitely go to the Purdue OWL and do a works cited page or a bibliography in the formal style that they have. However, your in-text citations, and I want to see this more in your letters and your memos, that when you make an assertion, so as a medical biller, you will get increased opportunities and employment. Well, find a source that backs that up for you. Now, what modified APA is a lot of times played with footnotes or these huge citations, page numbers. Remember our business, we just want quick and simple. So if I say felines comprise 20% of the current medical billing workforce, and let's say I found a source that backed that up, I'm just going to put author's last name and the year from which that came. So Espadas 2021, we put it in parentheses inside the statement we made. So very much like this. And the idea is, if I'm so interested, or even if I question you, let's say the negative perspective is show me that you're going to have this. So don't try to bluff, because if you get called on your bluff, It's not a good look. It may also be that I'm like, oh, I want to know more about felines. Hey, what is that article you read that you got that information? I'd like to read it. So make sure you do have, when you reference, you actually have a reference point. But this is the modified APA. Quick, clean, not a lot of like with the specificity of a lot of APA formats where it's, I need this very specific thing. If you put a comma instead of period, it's wrong. We're not going to be concerned with that. Last name of author, comma, date that it came out, put inside parentheses, we're good to go. Now we're going to go back to LinkedIn. So you are going to write a letter of introduction. Letter of introduction is very much like a cover letter. Technically a cover letter, people are expecting it, where a letter of introduction is more of you're just wanting a company to hire you. So they haven't even posted a ad, like there's this job available. You're just writing and go, look, if anything ever comes up, I want you to keep in mind that I want to be part of your team. Now, the two terms, they get interchanged all the time. So essentially you're writing a cover letter. Do put it in the format of the example of the feedback sandwich. That is a letter format. Use that. So some things to mention in your letter of introduction, because you are going to be introducing yourself, and I'll explain that in a little bit. In this letter of introduction, things to think about introducing are your shared connection to this person. What do I have in common with you? Because that might be something that gets them to read further on. If they're into 1920 military memorabilia and you're like, yo, I recognize that gun in your picture and that's from the 1920s. That's something to bring up. Interest in their work. I see you are a medical biller. I'm trying to be a medical biller. Let's talk. Make a request. Say, I am interested in hearing from you about your experience, or I am interested in a possible internship where you work. And describe your expertise. Remember, we want to include your value. Tell them, I am an amazing pizza maker. I know that has nothing to do with medical billing, but as you take me on this internship, I will gladly make you a pizza. So what are you offering? I'm an amazing researcher. I'm an amazing writer. All these things will help the person you're writing to have greater interest in you. And of course, express appreciation. Thank you for taking time to read this letter. Thank you for the opportunity to introduce me to another person. So what are you doing with this letter? I'm so glad you asked. You are going to create your LinkedIn profile if you do not already have one, and you're going to update it. Make it very relevant with your resume that you have now. Make your pictures appropriate. Maybe even go on there and add some posts so it looks like you're active on there, because having a blank page where you just started and left it is not a good look. You're going to go to my page. You're going to go through where it says network. You're going to look at the people I know. Now, some of them I know very well. Some of them I know not at all. You're going to pick someone, whether it's someone with close relation to you, like they're at LaGuardia or they're medical billers, or just find someone of interest that you think would be good for you to know. You're going to write your letter of introduction. And of course, as always, you're going to edit, edit, edit. You're going to prepare a message, and you're going to write a little introduction, like very similar to what you write for me when you're turning in your memos, but you have that introductory email. So you're going to write the separate message. You're going to attach your letter to that. And so you're going to want to reference. Attached is my letter of introduction to you. Attached is a letter I want you to read. And you're going to hit send. You're going to take a screenshot of your sent message, and you're going to email me your screenshot and your letter. Now, keep in mind, I know the other letter is due Sunday with the others. This is not going to be due until we come back in December. So I want you to take these steps to set up your LinkedIn profile to be prepared, maybe even prepare your letter of introduction, do your edits, but that one's not going to be due with this batch of 4 letters that you have due on Sunday. And that's essentially what you're going to do for this project. If you need help, you know where to get a hold of me. If you want a little more time to go over things, please make an appointment with me in Calendly. And if you have any questions, let me know. Good luck, enjoy your break, and I will see you in December.